Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again with another disturbing Jay Slater video, and I think this is the one that most people have been waiting for. Now, this is my reaction to what actually took place 2 weeks ago between myself, Warren, and Chris Tenerife. For those that don't know, we've done this video responding to the trolls. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go and check it out. Now, the reason I've done this video is because there was people online, people on TikTok that were speculating over a post that this account that you can see, B. Riley, posted on their account. Now, me and Warren were speaking about the video of Rocky sleeping in the car. And there was a few things that we discussed about that video, which then led Warren to saying, keep going, pal. Now, I only shared Warren's message of keep going, pal, with you because I wanted to show you that Warren is still seeking justice. Warren is still trying to find the truth. And whilst I was in the process of thinking about potentially making that video, because I wasn't actually going to make that video whatsoever. I didn't really care what people was thinking. It's only when I stumbled across a comment that Chris Tenerife left on his own video saying that Warren doesn't know wax with laughing emojis. So I kind of felt like, you know what? Let me put a few of these people in their place because they believe, or they're speculating, making people believe that someone like myself would make up some fake stuff, such as comments that have allegedly been sent to me by Warren. Chris knows I've got nothing against him. He knows I haven't said anything bad about him. I've just shared my opinion on what I believe's happened to Jay based on the investigation and the research that I've done. And I'm not saying that Chris helps cover anything up, but what I am saying and what I have said is Chris was manipulated into believing a certain narrative. Like I said, the people that have been involved in this case, the people that have been trying to control the narrative of this case, they eventually got to Chris Tenerife. They were able to manipulate the way Chris Tenerife was thinking, what he was believing, and ultimately they got him to push the narrative in a direction they wanted it to go in, a direction that protects Brad, protects Lucy, protects Ayub, protects all of the participants that were involved in this actual case, and make it look like it was just Jay, and Jay. Jay's the one that left the Airbnb. He didn't want to wait for his friends. Jay's the one that went the wrong way. Jay's the one that decided that going off road was a shortcut. He thought cutting through the ravine and getting to the sea is where he would find civilization, even though whilst at the Airbnb, he would have seen that civilization was literally right there if he would have went the right way. Now, again, I'm not saying Chris is the one that's created this story. I'm saying that the people involved in this case have made Chris believe that this is what the story is. This is what the narrative is. These are the decisions that Jay would have made. Listen to what Chris says here.
And I also believe he spoke to one of the guys at the Airbnb that he went back with to say he came off road, he made a mistake, and he's in a ditch.
So this is Chris basically saying that after Jay left the Airbnb, he would have spoke to someone at the Airbnb. So he actually phoned someone else, not just Brad, not just Lucy. He's saying when Jay left the Airbnb and got lost in the mountains, he phoned someone that was at the Airbnb. Now, that only person he could be referring to is who? Ayub, which means that at some point Ayub would have fed Chris Tenerife information. But what doesn't make any sense to me is when was it told to us that Jay would have spoke to someone else at the Airbnb after being lost in the mountains? When was that mentioned? That's never been mentioned to us. But here we have Chris Tenerife telling us that when Jay left the Airbnb, he would have spoken to someone who was at the Airbnb to let them know that he came off road and he made a mistake. Now, the point of that, ladies and gentlemen, is to show you that Chris Tenerife was in fact being manipulated by people that were involved in whatever happened to Jay. Chris Tenerife was in direct contact with Rachel, and Chris Tenerife also got in contact with Ayub. The time when Chris Tenerife and his side chick were bantering and having conversations with Ayub in his comments, saying things like, oh, Wax has been spreading lies and conspiracies for months. The times they were doing that was shortly after Chris Tenerife had been in direct conversations with Ayub, and Ayub had played Chris Tenerife the same way he played Mark Williams-Thomas, and the same way Brad and Rachel played Isla Traqueer. See, for me, the two key players that have been manipulating this story from day one is Ayub and Rachel. Those two have come together to corroborate the story. They've influenced Lucy. Brandon's influenced Lucy. I think to a certain degree, they played Lucy, especially for the first 24 hours of Jay going missing. Remember, when Lucy's initial statement was released, the audio where she said she left alone and went home alone, that was done 24 hours after Jay had gone missing. When she done the media interview with her face-off camera, that was on the 20th of June. So we're talking 3 days after Jay had gone missing. So in that space of time, there's enough time to corroborate a story to make it look like Jay was in the mountains and that was the last time we spoke with him. Now, at that point, they don't have their entire story together. They've only got the basis of their story intact. attack, and that is Jay went to the Airbnb and left the Airbnb. The reasons as to why Jay went to the Airbnb wasn't concrete. We were told that he lost his key, his friend took his key, he wanted to party for longer. Like, we were told 3 different reasons as to why Jay went to the Airbnb. It's the same for why Jay left the Airbnb. We were told about 3 different reasons as to why Jay left the Airbnb. He wanted to get scran, he wanted to get cigarettes. See, these are the things that they didn't have airtight. Why? Because they were relying on Ayub to deliver that information. Ayub's the one that kept conflicting that information by saying one thing and then saying another. However, the first side of the story we heard was from Lucy's side of the story. And what did Lucy say? He was in the mountains, cut by a cactus. He had no battery on his phone. He was thirsty. He needed a drink. All of the things that your imagination can paint to make it look like Jay was in the mountains. Now, in my video, I basically said, do you think Chris will be able to prove to us that he's in direct contact with Warren? And I think that right there personally triggered Chris to the point where at 2 o'clock in the morning, he sends Warren these disturbing messages. Now, firstly, what you can see on the screen here is a message that Chris Tenerife would have sent to Warren via WhatsApp. Now, this message would have been sent at 2:45 in the morning. Make that make sense. This message reads, Warren, get Wax Unfiltered to call me directly instead of creating videos online. Why would you ask Warren to get me to call you directly instead of me making videos online? Firstly, I'm a content creator. I will always make videos online. Secondly, you can contact me directly and give me your number if you wanted me to contact you. You don't have to message Warren. Why message Warren? Make it make sense. Why go out of your way to message Warren that when you could easily message me that? Secondly, he says, you and him are mates, and I'm always here to help. You and him are mates. Why would you even mention that? Firstly, when have we ever been mates? Secondly, whoever confirms that me and Warren were mates? I've never said Warren was my mate. Warren's never said I was his mate. So why are you saying you and him are mates? Are you mates with everyone that you follow on TikTok? And then he says, I'm always here to help with an exclamation mark as if he's screaming it. Here to help what? I don't understand. You've done your part. Your part was helping the Guardia Civil find where the body was. You've done your part. I thanked you and congratulated you for your part. See, the thing is, Chris told me personally that he never ever investigated what happened to Jay leading up to him leaving the Airbnb. So if you never investigated or looked into anything prior to him leaving the Airbnb, how the hell would you know if what I'm saying, if what other people are saying is BS, is conspiracy? How would you know? So on that basis, how would someone have the audacity to say that I'm spreading lies and conspiracies online if they haven't even investigated what happened to Jay before leaving the Airbnb? And he was telling me that's exactly what he wanted to help us with. He wanted to help us look into why Jay went to the Airbnb and left the Airbnb in the manner that he did. As I told you, he was willing to pay for my plane tickets. He wanted me to go to Tenerife. He said that he wanted to take me on the route that Jay would have taken. The thing is, I've never said that Jay wouldn't have taken that route. I've never said that if Jay was with someone, they wouldn't have taken that route. That route that you took, that route where you might have found the glasses, which could have potentially been planted by Rachel the day before because she was there with Warren. And I'm not saying that Rachel did plant the glasses, but I'm saying it is possible that Rachel could have planted those glasses. And Chris finds them the next day to make it look like there's been a massive discovery. And then guess what? It pushes the narrative in the direction that they want the narrative to go in. I also have to add that that all happened after the Isla interview. But again, Chris never looked into the investigative side of this case. He was only focused on finding a body. So Chris goes on to say here, so instead of the stupidity online, what stupidity? See, it's funny how I'm not being called out for my thoughts on Chris's involvement. I'm not saying that Chris was directly involved in covering up what happened to Jay. But what I am saying is that Chris was manipulated into believing the narrative that they wanted him to believe. They used him to push the narrative in a direction which ultimately protected who? Brad. And not only Brad, but potentially other participants, other people that would have been directly or indirectly involved in what happened to Jay that evening. So he says, so instead of the stupidity online, why hasn't your mate Wax rang me yet? Question mark. Thanks, Warren, with an explanation mark. Now, this is a very, very intimidating message. And if you put yourself in Warren's shoes, you got to think, how is this guy, Chris, who I've only met 6-7 months ago, who helped me find my son, got the audacity to send me this message at 2:45 in the morning with this aggressive language and this aggressive tone. How does Chris have the audacity to feel like he can speak to a grieving dad, a person that has just lost his son, and send him these type of messages? When you read this message, it makes you feel like Chris would have known Warren for years. There is no way someone that would have met a man 6-7 months ago to help him find his missing son would have sent him this awful, disturbing, intimidating, aggressive, embarrassing message at 2:45 in the morning. That would make no sense. And if I was Warren, the moment I would have received this message, I would have taken a step back from everyone. I would have unfollowed me. Because how have you got the audacity to send me this message? How are you telling me that this is my mate? When have we ever said we're mates? Why are you saying, why hasn't your mate Wax rung me yet? Why would you be asking Warren why I haven't rung you yet? From Warren's perspective, reading this would leave one extremely confused. But the point is why would Chris send this message to Warren? Why would you send this message to Warren? Is this a way of showing the world that you are in direct contact with Warren? Because no one cares. This is a grieving dad. This is not a celebrity. Everyone keeps glazing over Warren like he's some sort of celebrity. He's not. He's a grieving dad that has been looking for answers. And we are just people online that have been trying to help him understand that we don't believe in the official narrative. And these are the reasons why. You have to remember, Warren followed me back in August. He has been following me all the way up until February, which means all of the content that's on that TikTok account, including the link to my YouTube channel, is there. Warren has thoroughly watched it all. In fact, I actually said to Warren, if you want me and other content creators to stop talking about Jay, then please let me know and I'll get the message out to everyone. So there was an opening, an opportunity for Warren to say, you know what, actually, I don't want you guys talking about my son. But then after that, me and Warren had talks about Jay, him answering some of the questions that I had. But there was a number of things that we did speak about and there was a number of things that we did clean up. But what does it mean? What does it mean to Chris? What does it mean to anyone? It means nothing because Warren is just a dad that is grieving over the loss of his son. But people out there are making it look like it's something else. All I've been trying to do is show the people that really care about seeking justice for Jay that his dad is still seeking the truth, that his dad still wants answers. Otherwise, Warren would have told me ages ago to let everybody know, stop talking about Jay. But that wasn't his stance. The only reason Warren unfollowed me was because of this disturbing message that he received from Chris Tenerife. He posted that message to Warren on his TikTok account, which proves to me that he was doing this for clout. He was doing this to prove that he is directly in contact with Warren, but there was no need to do that. Now, this has led me to a point where I now have to question Chris Tenerife's character. I have to question whether Chris Tenerife is actually genuine. And the reason for that is because you're responding to comments where you're telling the person to F off. You're saying Warren's a grown man. This is a grieving dad. You're also saying people risked everything to help his family, so F off. Now, we can totally appreciate that you were someone on the grounds doing what you can to help this family finds Jay's body. But that doesn't give you the right to disrespect Warren online. That doesn't give you the right to send Warren these disturbing messages at 2:45 in the morning. In fact, that's going to make everyone look at you as more of a suspect, more of a person that's been involved in covering up the death of Warren's son, because no one in their right mind would send these disturbing messages and no one in their right mind would be talking about someone's dad like this online. So look, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, I don't blame Warren for unfollowing me and unfollowed me on the basis of Chris Tenerife sending him such a disturbing message with my name tagged all over it. Look, either way, it doesn't change the way I feel about this case, and it doesn't change the fact that I will still be looking at information, bringing information to your attention, sharing my opinion on this case, continuing to debunk the lies and the contradictions that these guys have shared. We've still got a long way to go. We've still got the documentaries to come yet, and we will be here to react to those documentaries. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you are newly watching, turn your notification bells on so you don't miss out on those videos. Again, I want to put it out there that I have nothing against Chris Tenerife. However, if you want to talk to me, if you've got a problem with me, you DM me, you send me an email. All of my contact information is available online. There is no excuse or no reason to go to other people and message them when really and truly your problem was with me. Now, look, I don't think I've been able to fully get out everything I wanted to say in this video. So if there's something that I do remember and there's something that's important that I need to bring to your attention based on what I've mentioned in this video, then I will do a part 2 to this reaction. But for now, hit that like button. Let's get over 1,000 likes in this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.